Tonight, suing the president. Oklahoma's teachers walk out. And YouTube cashes in on creeps. China imposed tariffs on dozens of American-made products today, hitting back at the Trump administration's new import tax on Chinese steel and aluminum. The tariffs affect 128 American goods, including pork, wine, and fruit. They're worth an estimated $3 billion, the equivalent of China's losses from the U.S. policy change. President Trump responded to the move in a tweet, saying that trade wars are good and easy to win. Beijing warned that, quote, China will never submit if the U.S. launches a trade war. The Syrian government looks ready to take back eastern Ghouta, the last rebel stronghold near the capital, Damascus. State TV reported the victory today, showing hundreds of rebel fighters and their families boarding buses to opposition territory in northern Syria. It also toured the tunnels that fighters apparently used to take shelter from government airstrikes. Syria's Russian allies announced a truce with Jaish al-Islam, a coalition of the only rebels left in the eastern Ghouta suburbs, but the group hasn't confirmed the agreement. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu quickly backtracked on a promise to address his country's migrant crisis. Earlier today, he announced a deal with the UN Refugee Agency to relocate more than 16,000 people from Eritrea and Sudan. Israel would have also granted temporary legal status to an equal number of migrants as part of the deal. But tonight, Netanyahu bowed to pressure from the right-wing branch of his government's coalition and halted the agreement. There are roughly 40,000 African migrants in Israel, and an earlier proposal to deport them all led to national protests. Ethiopia made history today after swearing in its first Oromo Prime Minister, Abiy Ahmed. The Oromo people are the largest ethnic group in Ethiopia, but they have been protesting what they say is marginalization and underrepresentation, and hundreds of demonstrators have been killed since 2015. The new prime minister is promising democratic reforms.
Democracy ያለ ነጻነት አይታሰብም. ነጻነት ከመንግስት ለህዝብ የሚበረከት ስጦታም አይደለም. ከሰብአዊ ክብር የሚመነጭ የእያንዳንዱ ሰው የተፈጥሮ ጸጋ እንጂ.
Ethan Couch, who became known as the affluenza teen after a deadly drunk driving crash, was released from a Texas jail today. Couch served almost 2 years for a probation violation, though was given no prison time for the accident that killed 4 people in 2013. He gained national notoriety when a psychologist suggested during his trial that he may not know the difference between right and wrong because he grew up rich. Later, Couch and his mom fled to Mexico, which is what ultimately landed him behind bars. The Environmental Protection Agency will roll back the vehicle emission standards that the Obama administration put in place. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt called those standards, quote, wrong and politically charged. The changes announced today are likely to set up yet another battle between Trump's government and blue state California, where Obama allowed regulators to implement tougher emissions rules for automakers than what federal law requires. The country's biggest lobbying group for car companies, the Alliance of Automobile Manufacturers, said it appreciates the EPA's new decision.
In Oklahoma today, most districts canceled classes as teachers took their fight for better pay and school funding to the state capitol, making it clear that they're not satisfied with the major concessions that the governor agreed to last week.
Giving our teachers a pay raise and having a quality teacher in our classrooms was a priority for the state of Oklahoma.
While educators welcome the pay raise, they're worried that the funding increase is an empty promise. So over the weekend, the state's major teachers' unions decided that the walkout would go forward.
My take-home salary per month after deductions that gets deposited into my checking account is $1,343.21. Typically, I teach after-school clubs that our principal kind of set up for us to offset the fact that our pay is so low. I sell makeup on the side too. And I'm really fortunate that my husband is able to support my teaching habit, because without him, I couldn't make this work. My daughter wants to be a teacher, and that is pretty bittersweet for me. I feel like if she wants to be a teacher, she's going to have to do it somewhere other than Oklahoma. And that kind of breaks my heart because, you know, as a mother, you want your kids to be close to you. Let's go. All right. Woo! Let's do this thing. Last week was a roller coaster of emotions. We thought good things were coming, then we were let down, and we were given things and had them taken away. We're fed up and we're tired of it, and we're not going to the Capitol today to say thank you. We're going to the Capitol today to speak for our most vulnerable in Oklahoma, which is our children.
The new bill requires Oklahoma to raise taxes for the first time in 28 years. And most teachers are happy with the $6,100 average raise they received. But the unions point out the legislature has only provided a fraction of the $200 million demanded in school funding for textbooks, supplies, and activities. Until that demand is met, many teachers plan on pushing back.
I think they were banking on the fact that we were ignorant, that we wouldn't understand it, and that we wouldn't understand amendments, and that we wouldn't understand how reckless and rushed this bill was. And they pushed something through to get us all to shut up.
We have gained back our momentum. We found our mojo in public education, and we are not going to step back and let anybody disinvest in our public schools again. We are here for the long haul. We are on the side of right, and we're going to continue the fight.
Nobody knows how long the Oklahoma walkout will last, but frustrated teachers in other states have been watching what's happened there. And today, teachers in Kentucky mounted their own mass walkout.
I do feel like this is a national movement. I feel like education's been undervalued and underpaid for a very long time. And I think there are a lot of eyes on Oklahoma.
President Trump is involved in a lot of salacious legal action these days. He's being sued by a former Apprentice contestant for defamation. He's being sued by an adult film actor who thinks the NDA she signed is invalid. Trump's lawyers are suing her back. The president is also being sued by the District of Columbia and the state of Maryland for allegedly using his namesake hotel, just down the block from the White House, for personal enrichment. For the most part, courts treat presidents differently from other citizens. The idea is that the president's job is different from other jobs, and courts take this into account when deciding whether or not to tie a president up in legal action. Trump, and all the cases he's involved in, is putting that idea to the test.
One of the tensions that we have in the law that's constantly tested by fresh instances, new applications, is between, on the one hand, the view that the presidency is this extraordinary institution and it shouldn't be hobbled by lawsuits, while at the same time, the overall competing sense that a president simply cannot rely on the holding of that office to insulate him from responsibility for his acts under the law.
It looks like we're starting to see that second view win out. In the case of the reality TV star, Summer Zervos, a court in New York recently ruled the president can be sued in state court. That's something new. The hotel thing marks the first time a court has allowed someone other than the Congress to enforce the emoluments clause of the Constitution, which prevents office holders from using their job for personal gain. In the Daniels case, no president has ever sued anyone to enforce an NDA. So that's a case that has the potential to change precedent too. It's scandal that tends to be the catalyst here. Before Bill Clinton, it was basically impossible to sue the president. But then Paula Jones came along, and the Supreme Court ruled for the first time that sitting presidents aren't immune from personal lawsuits just because they're president. That was a big deal. It led to the president being deposed on camera. But the presidents who came after Clinton didn't get deposed on camera. A legal precedent was set saying presidents can be sued, but it didn't mean the courts let just anyone sue the president from there on out. Trump is a deeply atypical president. And so according to Georgetown law professor David Vladeck, that could mean he's not setting any precedent at all.
And the real question is, has he pissed in the well for the rest of the presidents that follow? That's the question. And the answer is probably not. He will be enmeshed in civil litigation until he leaves office and then beyond. Why? Because he's thrown down so many gauntlets at so many people that he can't be surprised when somebody picks him back up and tries to run him through, which is what Stormy Daniels is trying to do.
Like, what do you think the impact of this presidency will be on the legal system when he leaves?
People ought to understand that no one, including the president, is above the law. And these kinds of cases, whether the president wins or loses, show that the courts are here to hold him accountable.
Justice! Justice!
Since Stephon Clark was shot 8 times on March 18th in Sacramento, one of the city's most powerful institutions has emerged as a strong supporter of the demonstrators who've come out to protest, the Sacramento Kings.
And we stand here before you, old, young, black, white, brown, and we are all united in our commitment.
They established an education fund for Clark's children, partnered with local advocacy groups, and managed to resolve the costly business problem of protesters blocking access to the team's arena. Vice News sat down with one of the Kings' most outspoken players.
Kids who live near the neighborhood where Stephon Clark was shot and killed by police met face-to-face with members of the only pro team in town.
If you can help me welcome some guests from the Sacramento Kings, Doug Christie, Vince Carter, and Garrett Temple.
The kids didn't go easy on them.
My first question is, why didn't you guys come out and join us in the protest to make an even bigger stand?
The platform that I got being in the NBA and being where I am right now is the reason that we have people listening to this conversation in Sacramento. And I don't want to give up that platform if I can find a way to affect change by still having that platform.
Garrett Temple is the team's most public voice when it comes to reforming the way Sacramento's black community is policed. Temple grew up in Baton Rouge. His father was the first black player on the LSU basketball team. Race relations in his hometown remain troubled. In 2016, police shot Alton Sterling 90 seconds after approaching him outside a convenience store. The officer who shot Sterling was fired last weekend, though the state declined to file charges against him.
You see the Alton Sterling body cam footage, like, it seems so personal for whatever reason. It was crazy, man.
What was the first police shooting that you remember, like actually feeling something about?
I can tell you the first shooting was the Trayvon Martin thing, and they had just announced it. I was on the East Coast, but people were walking around jolly, like it was, just another day in America. And I was just seething. I was so mad. If someone is killed and they're unarmed, and the body cam footage shows that they weren't a threat to you, then there has to be a consequence. And I want to say that I can only imagine being a police officer is probably the toughest job in America, especially right now. But with that being said, it's a job that people choose to do.
Right now, the community's not messing with the police. They're gonna have to do a lot to get the community to ever mess with them again. There's too many lives just being took for mistakes. Mistakes that they're not supposed to make. You guys are trained. You know what the difference between a cell phone and a gun. You could have tased them. You shooting a man because of some broken windows, then you don't even know if that's the right person.
Walking off the court isn't gonna erase implicit bias. Kneeling isn't gonna erase implicit bias. Talking to the chief of police about how to get police in the community to build a relationship with people. That's what's going to erase those implicit biases.
Winnie Mandela became the public face of the struggle against apartheid during the 27 years that her husband was behind bars.
We are going to dismantle apartheid. We are not prepared for any so-called reforms to apartheid. You cannot reform a sin. Apartheid is a criminal act against mankind.
Banished for years to a remote township, Mandela herself straddled the line between victim and villain. She oversaw a resistance movement that turned increasingly violent, even against Black South Africans she thought betrayed the cause. She was tied to the 1988 murder of a 14-year-old activist, though she didn't get jail time in that case. And she remained an icon. South Africans honored her 80th birthday last year with a national celebration.
People around the world watch 1 billion hours of YouTube videos every day, and that makes a lot of money for the company, as much as $10 billion in ad revenue last year, according to one estimate. And YouTube does very little to police that content. When it does, it's usually only after the public notices something egregious, recommending violent videos to kids or promoting fake news after school shootings. But one thing YouTube hasn't addressed is the host of explicit videos on the site, created by self-styled dating coaches who promise to teach men how to manipulate women into sex, even if they say no.
The only way to get good at game, really good at game, is to be able to game those maybe to no girls, the girls that don't really see that they're that into you.
Hey, what's up, guys? Justin Wayne here.
This is Justin Wayne, one of the most popular so-called seduction artists on YouTube. His videos have scored millions of views, and his channel has 127,000 subscribers. Wayne tries to prove that his tips work by posting what he calls in-field videos, or lay reports. Hidden camera footage of him picking up seemingly unsuspecting women. Wayne sometimes partially masks the identity of the women in his videos, suggesting that they did not consent to be filmed. Wayne claims he gets permission for the videos that he posts online, but he didn't blur their faces because of any enforced standards from YouTube. We've added additional blurring to protect their identities. Wayne isn't the only questionable character who operates with impunity on the site. He's just the one who invited us to watch how he does it.
Thanks for coming out. This is going to be a very, very simple talk. It's really just about helping you guys out where you guys are right now. I don't want to go into too much random theory. I want to hit the jugular. Most of the time, you're just not probably trying to touch the girls early enough. That's number one. And by not touching her or trying to touch her, it's easier to get friend zoned at that point.
According to his website, Wayne's weekend boot camps cost $999. He brought along a Russian woman named Jenny. She also appears in Wayne's YouTube videos, initially as one of his targets, but now he claims she's one of his girlfriends, proof that his methods work.
You want it to be touchy-feely right away, in the right way. And we have something called the orders of touch, okay? I might want to borrow you, okay? Just come here, right? So the order of touch is basically, look, you can start with, for example, high fives, hand stuff. Then you can go here, right? The elbow, this way. Then you can go shoulder. And at this point is when you can probably go closer. Then you can do probably nose to nose, mouth to mouth, boobs, and it goes down, right? In general, what do you want in the end?
For me, I kind of just want to be able to meet the girls that I'm attracted to, you know what I mean? Kind of like what you have going. Okay. From what I've seen, yeah.
But are you teaching them to be assholes?
Oh, no, definitely not. I'm not saying I haven't used any asshole tactics yet with them. Teach them how to be men.
And you tell guys when a girl says no to respect that.
Of course. I mean, actually, that's why we have, these programs. We teach them how to gauge the levels of touch. It's not about them getting getting in trouble in court. It's just about them getting the girl. Like if he overdoes it and the girl feels uncomfortable, it lowers his chances. It's all about paying attention to where she is. And that's been very successful for myself and for a lot of my students. Have you guys ever gamed the beach before? We're gonna have to start making moves, okay? So there are some girls over there, but they're looking at us with the camera. You know what I'm saying? Now, what I want you guys to do now, make it easier for me. Look around for like maybe 2 girls or something like that, or 1 girl laying down.
See that woman standing next to him? That's another one of Wayne's supposed girlfriends, introduced to us as Kelly from Finland. Before leaving for the beach, we'd put a mic on Wayne, and we're rolling when he got into an argument with Kelly. He threatened not to pay her if she did not cooperate. Underneath one kind of apparent exploitation, we found another.
Let's just get this shit over with, because I'm only here for the money.
I'm not gonna want to pay if you embarrass me on camera. I can do anything I want. Like, you have to remember, I'm always gonna have more weapons and stuff like that, okay? Just don't fuck with me, please, okay? I'm willing to lose it all. I'm crazy like that. I've always been crazy. That's why I put girls online, and they for years, and no one does anything to me. Listen to me. If you don't trust me, listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm telling you in your life.
After this, Wayne insisted we interview her.
Are you and Justin in a relationship?
Yes.
How long?
4 years.
Oh, okay. And do you have a tattoo?
Yeah.
What is it?
His name.
His name? Why'd you get his name tattooed?
I love him.
Oh, okay.
Wayne scolded Kelly for her performance afterward. We repeatedly tried to talk to Kelly alone, but she refused, or Wayne intervened.
Do you get their permission to put them online?
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, a lot of times, just like Jenny, for example, I told her, and she was like, okay. And if they don't want to, I just not show anything. Simple.
She said the video was up for a month before you told her about it.
No, she knew that the video would be posted. She just didn't ask me when it was posted. So that's a clarification.
That's not what she told me. And so is everything that happens in the video real?
Yes.
Did you pay Jenny or Kelly?
No.
Did you pay them to be on camera while we were here?
No.
You didn't pay either of them?
Nope. She would do it for me because I'm good to her as a boyfriend.
I heard you say that you wouldn't pay her if she didn't do the interview and make you look good.
Oh, I told her to do the interview well, or else I'm not going to be there for her in general. Not pay her. That's not what it meant.
Did you threaten her?
Basically, I was just like, yo, come on, you can do this, She's like, I know, I'm scared. I was like, come on, don't do this. You're making me upset, I was like upset because and she also seemed upset about the camera. She's like, I don't know if I really want to do this, I've done a lot for you.
I noticed that a lot of the girls in your videos are foreign. Why is that?
So, there's American girls also, but a lot of them are foreign because, New York and Miami is a lot of foreign girls. Hold on,
it's just coincidence?
Can I get some water? This is not something that, just that you guys know. Excuse me?
I'm listening.
I prefer just to talk to you about my teachings.
Yeah,
I don't want to create anything where it's too much about fishiness about me really mistreating people.
4 days after our interview, Wayne took down all his YouTube videos. A day later, he released this cryptic message announcing his retirement, kind of.
For now, I'm just kind of relaxing. Sometimes everyone needs a break.
But less than a week after that, he put a few of the old videos back online. We asked YouTube if the sorts of videos that Wayne and others post violate the platform's terms of service. We also asked if the site ran ads on them, and what mechanisms YouTube has in place to prevent such content from existing on the site in the first place. In response, a YouTube spokesperson provided a short statement about their privacy complaint process. Even if Justin Wayne ends up quitting the internet, there will be plenty of other pickup artists to take his place, as well as creators of every other shade of questionable, disturbing, or potentially illegal content. And for now, YouTube will be there to take a cut.
That's the beautiful thing about this stuff. It's just such a, elegant work of art. It's a beautiful science, art, everything in one.
That's Vice News Tonight for Monday, April 2nd.